The Leo and Danny Show.
17 on weekends, we were out like trying to like finger chicks and drink 40s. And kids are like, yeah, I think I'm going to tear down a Confederate statue on Friday night.
That's ridiculous.
Isn't that crazy?
It really is. Times have changed.
To wrap things all into our weekend here, speaking of the rental market being a disaster, statues getting torn down, we were just up in San Francisco.
Yeah. Wow. What are you guys doing up there?
We were filming a video for my main channel, and it was bad. Homeless people out in the streets, just massive piles of garbage. Yeah. I told Leo, we were walking down the street, and we just saw, it looked like 3 or 4 full garbage cans had been upended. I was like, you know what that is? That was a crack high from light up to come down.
Oh, yeah.
This guy spent 8 hours just destroying this patch of sidewalk. There's no other explanation.
Absolutely.
We go into the CVS right past that. There's an armed, uniformed police officer in there. Not a rent-a-cop. Not a guy making $13.50 an hour in a polo. There was a fucking cop there. We talked to a couple also. Leo and I were having breakfast speaking to a young yuppie couple who actually had a good sense of humor, were very kind. They confirmed that about 60 to 80% of their building was vacant.
Yeah.
We saw a couple loading up a U-Haul, clearly leaving the city right next to our hotel. They were moving everything out of their apartment. It's an interesting time right now because the economy's still going up. Our rent is still high. We got fucked and locked into a high rent contract.
Whoa, shit. You guys didn't renegotiate?
What happened was our company that runs this rental, they're called Invitation Homes. It's a big Wall Street corporation, and I suspect that they might have ties to the Rockefellers, to the Vanderbilts.
Yeah.
I think they probably knew coronavirus was coming because they started waving this contract around in our face like a week before coronavirus news broke, saying like, hey, if you sign this, we'll only raise your rent by 5% next year. It might go way higher than that. And I was just like, oh, that sounds good.
Right.
And so now we're going to pay like 40% higher than market value for this fucking place.
Yeah, dude, this is their 08. Like, this is their financial, real estate crash. This is like that, but 12 years later,
Yeah.
So they're just, dude, they're like the mafia in many ways. Like, the mafia looks for, like, right now, the coronavirus obviously wrecked Italy. So the mafia, they're leeches, they're parasites. So they're like, okay, this is how we can get in by lending people money who are super desperate. So Wall Street's the same way. They operate in the same, they're just like Pac-Man, trying to find, like, gobble up whatever the opportunity is. You know what I mean?
It's insane to me that the number one way of making income, it seems, worldwide is basically loan sharking. Bankers and banks do it on a very high, buttoned up official level. Like, oh, here's some fucking money. Pay us interest, bitch. Mobsters do it with a baseball bat and with a guy named Rocco.
Right.
And it doesn't that seem stressful to you to be like lending money to 16 people and then you're in charge of making sure these deadbeats pay the loans back?
Oh, my buddy owes me $60. I can't get to sleep at night. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly, Sam. I'm like that too.
Imagine fronting a guy $50,000 for a business.
Yeah.
Which is what the mafia and shit, I presume, does.
Well, I think you got to be really confident that you can get that money back. You know what I mean? So it's usually in neighborhoods that are really insular. You know what I mean? Like, these deep neighborhoods in Brooklyn still and parts of Chicago that are still mob run, and where it's real old school. Like, you can give a guy $50,000 because you know where his kids go to school, where he lives, his friends, you know what I mean? You probably got a couple of cops that are friendly and kind of allow it to go on. So, and you have Rocco with the fucking baseball bat.
You do. You always got Rocco.
And if the guy can't pay, you used to go break his knees. Now you're like, you know what? I'm going to take your business. So you just got his business valued at, you just became a silent partner, probably cheaper than you could have legally.
Is that what that means, silent partner?
No, silent partner is just whoever's, the money man. Yeah, silent partner. But this way you get in because he doesn't really have a choice. You're like, I can, firebomb your house,
rape your daughter.
Sure, I was going to go there. But that was going to be my next one. But you fucking, dude, you read my mind.
The reason I wanted to know about silent partner is on YouTube, they have an audio library, and I always use copyright-free songs, and there's a band that provides them called Silent Partner. I was like, what is that? Is that like a girl who talks to ghosts? Is that what they mean by silent partner?
It's when you fuck a chick who's on coke. You just...
silent... Or when she's...
That's a very niche joke, but okay.
Or when she's gagged and bound, Johnny. Or when she's gagged and bound. Silent partners. Let's get back on track.
I really like Danny. I just want to point that out. Leo, Danny's Danny is fucking competing.
He's good
for my
dude.
affection, and you better pick it up, guy.
Bill, Bill Dawes, and you probably like Bill Dawes.
Yeah.
They connected. They bonded.
Oh, you had Bill Dawes on here.
Yeah, we had Bill Dawes on here, man.
It's interesting though.
Man.
What are you guys talking about? Like strongman competitions?
All his shit. Like that's funny, dude.
He looks like he just moves big boulders in parks. Like that's how he gets a workout.
That's funny, dude. Bill Dawes now, man. He has a lot of fucking experience. Like he a lot of the guys that they have a lot of the comedic interests that are very similar. And he's a jiu-jitsu guy too. He likes jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
So they talked about that kind of stuff.
Far out. Yeah, so rape your daughter.
Yeah.
What's the other one? They could do all that, or I'm just gonna basically own you. So it gets very sticky.
Even nationally, it gets sticky. I'm reading a book right now about the Morgan banking dynasty, and it talks about how, like, say Paraguay owes you fucking $30 million. Well, there might be a military coup in Paraguay. They might overthrow the government and then just give a big middle finger up to Uncle Sam here. And then what are you going to do?
Have you ever read Confessions of an Economic Hitman?
It's not that well read.
But it's an easier book than it sounds like than reading about the Morgans. Like it talks about that, like how the CIA will be contracted by these big American companies that are lending, predatory lending to all these third world countries, at exorbitant interest rates.
What time frame? What years?
From basically the inception of the CIA after World War II till, and this book was written in 2004. I read it in college, but I mean, a lot of it's probably still going on now. But, that's the CIA has basically worked as an arm of like corporate interests on behalf of, huge American giants.
Yeah.
Since the end of World War II.
The military, since before that, there is a quote in this Morgan book I've been reading where Theodore Roosevelt writes something to JP Morgan to the effect of, if they don't pay back their loans, like our Marines are going to go back and collect those fucking loans.
How gangster is that? It's the same thing as Tony sending Rocco to go collect on the weekly VIG.
Yeah.
How fucking wild is that?
It's crazy, dude.
The world is run by gangsters.
Yeah. It's just even more of a mismatch when you go down there to a banana republic with a bunch of trained Navy SEALs and Marines. But yeah, it's fucking crazy, dude.
I usually go to the one at the Beverly Center.
That's the banana republic.
That's the one you go to.
I was willing to let that one sit for a couple of seconds.
They got a nice deal on cashmere sweaters over there.